Oh, right. Well, in lieu of Spooktober, the normal witches and, Frankensteins and monsters and ghouls, I think it would be good time to talk about a movie that fucking scares me to the core and is horrifying, but not necessarily conventionally horrifying, like ghosts and goblins. This is a movie called The Fourth Kind from 2009, and with so much of this stuff in the media, like, there's the drone sightings, and there's this asteroid or comet or whatever coming past Mars. There's all this talk of extraterrestrial life, and this movie really brings horror to the table like never before, just in its very own unique way. Now, I've talked about some of the other really horrifying, what I would like to call, extraterrestrial horror or cosmic horror type of type of movies. You got movies like Close Encounters. You got movies like Fire in the Sky. Both I've talked about, but this one has a different type of horror. It's very spooky kind of. It's very kind of trippy in ways that it really makes you think about like how horrifying this could be to experience this stuff, and just the way it's shot, it's just very weird. It's like you can't really tell if it's based on reality or not, and it's just weird. Now, you of course you got ultra waifu Milia Jovovich in this, and she's spectacular as always. She even starts the movie out with like a segue, kind of really deeply. You can just tell that she's an awesome woman, and she loves this kind of stuff. She's into neat, cool horror stuff like this. And this movie definitely is a horror movie, and she plays a really good role as kind of as this lady who's supposedly experienced all this stuff. I think perhaps the most horrifying aspect of this movie, of course, is just the mere thought of those the alien voice, and the coming into your bedroom, and all the loud pitches and loud like screeches and things that happen in the movie. It just really sets you on edge. It gives you goosebumps instantly. Like, I could not believe how hardcore I was getting goosebumps watching this movie, because there is something kind of terrifying about that. There is like, we as humans believe that, for the most part, there's nothing else besides us that we've seen yet. Now, space is incomprehensibly large, 200 billion plus stars in the Milky Way alone, just absolutely mind bending numbers out there. So, of course, there's probably anyone with a brain would assume that there's very likely aliens out there, but we don't see them, and we don't have them around, and we're not, we're the highest level of species that we know of. So the mere thought that there's something bigger than us, stronger than us, smarter than us, more advanced than us is just a deeply unsettling thought, because we're at the absolute mercy of whatever could be out there. So yeah, a particularly hair-raising moment in the movie is when, she plays back the recording and hears this alien being talking, and just the way their language, I guess it was based in Sumerian, and it just sounds really weird. It almost sounds, dare I say, like you would expect an alien to sound. Very like, ghostly and unknown, and very creepy. It is a movie. It's fairly short, and it doesn't show a lot like any of the aliens, so to speak. But what it's genius in The Fourth Kind is that it's psychological. It makes you think like, holy shit, what if this happened to me? What if, this was occurring? There are real world aspects that touch this onto this too, because like, of course, in parts of the movie there's a, like people who like commit suicide because they've seen this moment. And yeah, it's really 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 nuts, and it's super 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 off-putting the way it is. But I mean, also at the same time, as horrifying as this movie is, it's actually really, really intelligent. It's very interesting, to think of this hypnotherapy that unlocks the presence of these beings that may not even be aliens from outer space, even though it shows like a spaceship kind of deal. You got to remember that like everybody always thinks of aliens as being able to come from the sky in space somewhere out in the universe. But what if aliens are so advanced that they don't even exist in our like plane of existence? They exist in our own minds, maybe. Like, who knows where these actual entities live? Are they something physical, tangible that we can reach out with our hands and touch? Or are they something that exists on a different plane of existence that we can't see, we can't touch? So yeah, overall, extremely creepy movie, and it's a movie that kind of just sticks in your mind, just like slots. It's a lot like a lot like Close Encounters and uh, Fire in the Sky. They're all movies that really make you think and make you kind of like, holy shit, imagine if this was real type thing. Because I think that every human being, to a degree, has a sort of feeling towards extraterrestrial life. There are people who are religious that will just straight up deny it. Nope, can't happen. Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of infinite stars in this system. Nope, we're the only ones. God only made us. And then there are people who are hardcore believers like me, which is like, what? Life is common in the universe. Like, we are nothing special, and we could just as easily have an alien species that is a million years as 3 million years more advanced than us because of how long space has existed that we know of since the Big Bang. So, perhaps these beings are so advanced that they're not going to come to here and destroy us. They're not going to come. They don't need our resources. They don't need anything from us besides their curiosity. And they know what level of advancement we're at, which is probably not at the best stage of, we're threatening each other with nukes and, social chaos all across the spectrum, all across the world. We're at a very unique part of evolution. So maybe aliens are just curious about that. Maybe they just want to see what it's like at this stage of evolution and how we are who we are. And that's what this movie really taps on, is that it appears as if these are godlike beings. They just are curious and they just want to speak. And they are this just benevolent force of power that some people their minds just can't take when they do that. And that's why a lot of people will sometimes advise against taking psychedelic drugs, is that psychedelic drugs, some people's mind just breaks over it. They just cannot take the sheer intensity of it. And there's also a lot of accounts of people taking psychedelic drugs who identify beings, alien beings, almost like clockwork. Every time they take the drug, similar beings appear. So it's like there's no logical explanation for that. But like in the movie, is that some people's minds just can't take the reality that there's more than likely more to existence and life and being, human than we truly realize. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good movie and brings a just absolute shiver to your spine. Mila Jovovich is incredible in it. All the actors in it do great as well. But I mean, yeah, it's a creepy thought. It's a creepy thought to think that there are alien abductions and that more than likely they exist somewhere out in the universe, whether or not they've done this or whether or not they're currently flying around New Jersey on in these random drones. You know, one of the crazy thoughts I had with these drones was how insane and how easy would it be for an extraterrestrial advanced species to just mimic our craft and then go flying around the world undetected? People just say, hey, look, it's a drone, when really they're out there. So I mean, this is a good movie. It's a relevant movie because yeah, there's definitely alien abduction stories there unexplained all over the world, and for just one of them to be true is a pretty crazy fucking thought. The Fourth Kind is a good movie and very terrifying, and it really brings you to a point in time in history that is kind of like, where we're at right now with this stuff is that until we get, like, and there's a lot of parts in the film that are like this, is that, like, the sheriff, you just cannot accept the fact that this is reality. People are tangible, like, the world is based on reality. There's no mythical monsters, no mythical beasts. But it begs a question is like, when will we become able to just say, yep, there's aliens? Even if today, like, some big scientist group came out and showed us a spacecraft and showed us an alien body, with all the things that there are in the world that they could just mock it up and it's not real. What stage besides, alien flying saucers blowing up buildings and shooting lasers everywhere, at what point can we truly accept that aliens are real besides just individual personal experiences? How could us, as a species, ever truly say, "Yep, aliens exist. Here's your proof." You know, you can deny it all you want, but this is it. In fact, if you want, come out, see it, touch it, prove yourself right for long. For fuck's sakes, there's some people in this world who don't even believe the world is round and planets exist, and it's just ridiculous. And you'll have deniers forever. So until there's a way to truly prove that aliens exist, anybody who believes are just insane people because there's no real proof. Well, I mean, look at science. Look at the fact that there is space is inconceivable, is just absolutely enormous. And that brings a little bit of humbleness to you, thinking that our individual experiences here on Earth are very unique, and there's probably no other being on Earth unless there's some type of crazed um, you know, verses out there. There's probably no other being in all of space and time that have experienced what you experience and been what you are. So, I mean, that's something to look forward to. And I mean, yeah, this is a crazy movie. It begs the questions. It's very horrifying. So it's great for spooky time, Halloween, and I would 100% recommend it. It is just always stuck in the back of my head. The sound the aliens make, the abduction aspect of them just coming and just doing whatever they want with people, being so powerful that no military can see them, spot them, or do anything about them. We're just absolutely at their whim of these powerful godlike entities is very horrifying. And it's that deep cosmic horror that just resonates in this movie. So yeah, check it out. The Fourth Kind, very good movie.